The theory of what's happening with the black family, black wealth, and the fear of a black man is the black American experience that we truly look at, plagued by traumatic history and countless chances of accountability from all parties involved. Join us, and let's get in tune with the Transform Youth Black Commentary Show with your host, Marcus Hart. Now here's your host. And here we are. Hello, my people. Welcome back to another installment of the Black Commentary Podcast Show. So you see the title. And if you don't see the title, let me get off into it right away. We only got 10 minutes tonight. We might have to touch on this once again, but we're going to be talking about how cocaine, and we can even go as far as say how Latin American countries, these supply countries, we'll talk about what supply countries are, but, may be part of like President Joe Biden's new drug reform strategy. So so what happened today? It was something that happened today. So when something happens, I definitely got to bring it to you right away and give you the insight of what it all means, because these things don't get widely reported. Like they gonna only like give you fluff. They gonna only tell tell you what you want to hear, and that's about it. And the things that dominate the news the most. But President Joe Biden has signed a memo today for the Secretary of State and the Secretary of Defense that mirrors the one that former President Clinton signed in December 1st of 94 for U.S. drug interdiction assistance to the government of Colombia. And if we look back at the effects crack cocaine had on the black community, alongside the 94 crime bill, like how can we not wonder if Mr. Biden is not looking to portray himself as some type of reformist of some sort against drugs, except this time he's going to remix it a little bit. He's going to remix, the stuff that he did before, and try to make amends. But we all know that we can't trust these politicians, although many people may try. Interdiction. So I was trying to say the word, so I had to get some help. So interdiction. So they, that's what he signed today, a memo for the resumption of U.S. drug what's the word? Interdiction. U.S. drug interdiction assistance to the government of Colombia. So why is this? And what do interdiction mean? In a sense, the word means to prohibit or forbid something from happening, like the interdiction of slave trade. The act of preventing the movement of something, the supply. What is that supply? In large, Colombia at large is known for their coca. What do we do with coca? Coca becomes cocaine. And what happened? What came as a result of the 94 crime bill? Crack cocaine. Crack cocaine was rampant in the streets. Cocaine as well was starting to filter out into the suburbs. They didn't like it. Super predators, that's what they called, the thugs. That's what they called the gangsters. So they need to find a way to get rid of it. And so Mr. Clinton at the time, he was like, Colombia, they can't do nothing about it. They don't have the resources, so we're going to, quote unquote, we're going to give them some assistance to fight this thing in the air, because like they're flying this stuff in, and we're letting it get in. So we're going to give them some resources to fight it in the air, and fight it and fight it on the ground. But the problem with this, and is, and I got the actual memo right here from the White House that he signed back in 94, is that like they was more concerned about the innocent loss of life rather than actually stopping the supply. Because like if we fast forward years later, we know cocaine's still kind of like on the street. You can still get cocaine, right? If you don't know that, there's something wrong with you. But now we turn to like Mr. Biden. Okay, uh, Mr. Biden now, he re-signs this same memo that Mr. Clinton signed back in '94 today. Uh, why? Because he's looking at a new strategic drug policy that he wants to collaborate with China, India, and Colombia on counter drug efforts. So what does this mean for us? What does this mean for those who are up in our little communities, who are being smothered by the drug traffickers, and those who are like gotta deal with the cartels and these supply countries that like are that have to be in the way of the cartel trail as these drugs come through. Well, what it means is that you know I they put out like a new drug policy plan. So if we know anything, like when they use the word drug, right? They talking about all drugs, that's being abused, but they particularly, they want to use this particular, memo here. They want to use the crack cocaine as the template because they seen what it did to the black community, and like of course they want to protect the rest of the communities from like being infested by opioids, particularly opioids, and particularly synthetic ones like fentanyl, and then these other ones that are like starting to be mixed with like drugs like cocaine and methamphetamines. So and there was a surge of that last year in 2020, according to this article here that comes out of the U.S. Out of the U.S. What is this article? Oh yeah, it comes out of the U.S. Government Accountability Office. So and NCDC also reports that too. So they go on to say, for the sake of U.S. lives and human security, rule of law, we have to do something. We insist that start taking on drug trafficking. And instead of like yielding to corruption and corruption, but like all along, ever since '94, when Mr. Clinton, you've been given funding to like really stop this stuff. Like they've been pouring millions and millions and millions of dollars up into the billions of dollars now, trying to like so-called interdiction is the word interdiction prohibit, so let me get cool. Interdiction. So interdict or stop, prevent, the whole shipments of this stuff from company. And it never mentions locking up the cartels, and that was never us for us as the U.S. government to go in as police, as the police, and like start locking up the cartels, because like, oh, we can't do it in other countries. But but God forbid though, now we have to get this American Rescue Plan, which President Joe Biden signed just recently, expanding drug treatment. So now we look back on what happened with the crack cocaine epidemic. Like people were all over the street looking like zombies. It was pretty nasty. The crack babies being born all over the place, the crack baby mama, and her house looking all shot up and stuff, and those projects, looking a mess, and so now the biggest fear is that like with this opioid continuing to like surge, and like it's readily available, you can get your hands on this stuff now pretty easy, because like although this memo that's been signed since '94, and since they were so tough on drugs back then, and that lasted for a good while, you know, you know, it seems like it wasn't enough. So they had to take a new approach now, and that's like, let's not incarcerate people for drug use. Instead, let's focus our attention on drug treatment. Why is that? Why is that? If you listening, why would they want to shift to drug treatment? You know, and just give up completely on the fact that, like, yeah, we got all these drugs, this cocaine still coming in here, but the thing is, like, like we now realize that, like, we just not going to be able to stop it, because even their very own there was a report to the caucus on international narcotics control from the U.S. Senate on Colombia, and they said, in also few words, they got, they revealed some evidence that, like, this whole eradication efforts in Colombia, is it's going to be costly, and it just has no effect. It's going to be costly. It's going to continue to be increasingly costly to continue to, like, support Colombian aerial and manual eradication efforts over time. And they said that not once, but like continuous times after they asked for report after report. So they this is just all like waste of money that the U.S. government continue to waste. What can we do with this money? What do you think we can do with this money? So they got to find a way to make that money back. So Mr. Biden says, oh, you know what? I got an idea. In his administration, they get together, they say, wow, let's not jail them, because, like, yeah, we were making money jailing them, but that makes us look bad. And we don't want to repeat the 94 crime bill, because God forbid we repeat that, and we take more fathers out of the homes, and we demonize people again. Like, that would look very racist. So what they do instead, let's, and plus, now there's whites being affected too. Okay, so it ain't just blacks, engaging in the use of fentanyl and the mixing of drugs with cocaine and methamphetamines. It's a bunch of people. You got a whole diverse pot of people, pot of Americans, and by this report, Chinamen and Indians and Colombians, and many other parts of the world, that are all, engaging in this type of activity. So, like, let's not jail people no more. Let's just give them drug treatment, because why? When we give them treatment, we can charge for it. The big pharma stepped in and whispered in the ear and say, hey, we got psych drugs for you. We got needles. We got what you need, baby. we a new pusher man. Let's take let's take those addicts and put them in a controlled environment, and then we be they pusher man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? so like, and then you can charge whatever the hell you want, because, like, these programs, they're going to be lifetime. Because once you put a label on somebody, a mental health illness label on somebody, that label follows them forever and ever and ever. So they'll have to be, like, constantly going back for treatment. And it's a lot more inexpensive, but like, far as, like, when it comes to initially, capturing these people, you can just, it's like, far as, like, paying your law enforcement. You don't have to pay your law enforcement as much. You don't have to worry about, like, housing them and feeding them. Because, like, when you put them in a mental institution, or you put them in an outpatient drug treatment program, they can still return home, and you don't have to worry about them. Like, you just continue to just make them zone out, and then you can control them better. So this is what's on the way, folks. I thought I'd just bring this to your attention. This is what's going to, this is on the horizon. Look out. There's going to be plenty of drug treatment centers coming to a town near you. So no more crackheads on the street no more. Baby, like the resources gonna be raining down. With like the signing of this memo today. And Mr. Biden's dedication to being a drug reformist. Yay! Okay, so so that's all I got for you. Make sure you like and share this wonderful podcast. You can listen to it alternatively on any podcast app: Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple, and of course you can watch all of our complete archive on YouTube. Simply subscribe to the Black Commentary Show on YouTube, and you'll catch more of us. So sorry we didn't catch you if you're watching live right now. Sorry we didn't hook up with you yesterday. Usually we do a show on Mondays, but we didn't hook up. But that's all I got. I'm out. Marcus Hart. Peace, many blessings, peace, and lots of love.